Bump, bump, ba-da-dum, bump, bump, bump. It's a game day bendy on a Monday. Welcome to another edition of Blue Review presented by LAX. We got lasers. Last time we saw the Dodgers, they won. I think that's fair. After
they're still winners. They're still winners.
Still winners, baby.
Heart-pounding, mind-numbing 2-1 win over the Phillies in the fourth game of the NLDS. Which, by the way, guys, so the Dodgers go out and win a thriller in 11 innings, and then the Mariners and Tigers just felt like, well, we got to one-up them.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
So they go 15 innings with theirs. Like, all right, guys, we see you. Like, enough. It's enough. That's fine.
15 is too long. 15 is always too long. Too many innings.
Yes.
We don't need to go back in time with how this all worked. 15 too long.
So, side note to that, like, my wife and I were watching a different show. We paused it because she was helping the kid with something. So while she was away, I decided to turn on the game, just see how it ended. It was like the 8th inning at that point. She comes back and sits down. They go to like the 10th, and I said, I can turn this game on my phone. We can go back to watching whatever. And she's like, no, I'm kind of invested in it now. Like, let's watch. And then it just kept on going and going and going to the point she's like, okay, now I sort of regret saying that.
What was the other show you were watching?
What were we watching?
Love is Blind.
No, not Love is Blind. I think we're actually catching up on Task.
I heard that was good.
It's fantastic. Mark Ruffalo is amazing. Tom Pelfrey, absolutely amazing. So I recommend it strongly. But that's also not why we're here. We're here to preview the NLCS, which is going tonight in Milwaukee. Dodgers and Brewers in Game 1. We'll dive into that and more. But first, want to give a shout out to LAX as always. Los Angeles International Airport, transforming the travel experience, saving guests time. For more information, go to flylax.com/transforminglax. I also failed to introduce us. I'm Marcus Grant. That's Greg Bergman. That's Parker Bell. That's Jeff Spiegel. For those of you who maybe are new to this show a little bit, in which case,
to the Blue Review.
Welcome here in October. We're glad to have you. So obviously the Dodgers get through the NLDS. They get by the Phillies. They go on to take on the Brewers. Greg, 0-6 against the Brewers during the regular season. Does that factor into your thinking at all when talking about this series?
No, it doesn't at all. I mean, when was the last time they played? It was something probably in May,
maybe
June.
It was the first series after. It was the second to last series before the break and the first series out of the break.
So July. Okay.
Yeah, July. Okay. Yeah. It's completely different teams. The Dodgers were a completely different team back then. They're still playing. Max Muncy was hurt. There's a lot of different things that were happening. They play good ball though. They put up runs. They're a team that they can play small ball. They like to steal bases. Their pitching is okay. It's not the same level, anywhere near the same level as Philadelphia. But you still feel like Mizorowski had an awful second half, but now he's pitching well out of the pen. But I feel good. I also have been saying it for a very long time, and I'm no jinxing, none of that nonsense. I thought the Brewers peaked too early a pretty long time ago. I think the Dodgers are more into that spot right now. They're 20-6 in their last 26 games, and every single year they go through a period where they do something where they're like 40-50, 40 wins, like 40-10 over a 50-game stretch. And that happens every single year. That didn't happen this year. Right now they're 20-6. It seems like that might be where they're at right now. So I feel good about the series. I don't think it's going to be easy by any means because, Brewers were the best team in baseball, but I'm still very, very high on the Dodgers for this series.
All right.
Weirdly enough, as a Dodger fan, doing a Blue Review.
I know, right? Who could have guessed something like that? We were talking before the show, Jeff, about the rotation. We know Blake Snell is getting Game 1. We know Yoshinobu Yamamoto is getting Game 2. No other pitchers have been named since then, but the thought process being we see Glass now in Game 3 and then Ohtani in Game 4. Your thoughts behind why this is setting up the way it is.
Yeah, I'm really glad this is how it played out. This is how I kind of hoped it would. And it's simply based on rest days. I think the Dodgers have 4 incredible starting pitchers. And I don't think Ohtani's the 4th best, but he has not made a start on less than 6 full days off in between starts at any point this season. And if the Dodgers want to be able to get through this series with just the 4 starting pitchers, no bullpen games, and no 5th starter, this is what they had to do. Snell will pitch game 1, and if there is a game 5 with 4 full days off in between, Yamamoto can go 2 and 6 with 5 full days off in between. Glasnow can go 3 and 7 with 4 full days off in between. If they had put Ohtani into this setup somewhere, it would have had to be game 2, which meant he would have been coming back on short rest. Yamamoto would have had to come back on shorter rest than he's used to. And so I think this is the right move. From a purely pitching perspective, I think the Dodgers are going to have an advantage starting pitching-wise in every single game this series. And why would you not want that in all 7 games if you have to go that long? So it's no disrespect to Ohtani, the pitcher, at all. It's just a matter of logistics and the fact that he has not pitched on less than 6 days off. So I think that's how this one plays out.
Parker, do you think there's also this is my own theory too, there's an element of, because he struggled at the plate so much in that Phillies series, that maybe they take some of the load off of his plate a little bit just to let him try and get right as a hitter, because obviously they need him to hit if they're going to get through this series and get to a World Series.
I think I like the way you framed that, Marcus, as a way to let him get right, because we know that he can do both. He's just, as we've said in the Blue Review all season long, he's a Costco hitter, right, Marcus? And he hits
Costco hitter, everything in bulk. Yep.
So the thing is with Ohtani, if he's struggling at the plate, it's not necessarily because he is pitching more. The numbers they haven't necessarily shown that throughout his career. I know that sometimes the game after he pitches, he could be rough, but usually even during games, he hits pretty well. So this is just this little slump that he needs to kind of get his head right, find the pitches, find the ball better. And so it's going to help him if they do allow him just to focus on hitting. And I think this series, just in general, what's going to be good about it for people to look forward to this series? I mean, Milwaukee's offense, I know we're going to talk about this just a little bit, but they're very potent for being a team that has a third of the payroll of the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. I think they even have a lesser payroll than those historically bad Rockies, which is kind of cool to see that they were the number 1 team, but they draw a lot of walks and they put pressure on defenses by stealing bases. I think they're second in the league in stolen bases. So that's going to be the trickiest part for the Dodgers, especially with Snell game 1, who we know is trying to get those strikeouts by throwing those balls in the dirt with those big breaking balls. So, Greg, I mean, with that, do you see any issue in terms of just the Dodgers starts, even though they have the advantage, is the Milwaukee offense going to prove a lot of trouble?
Well, it's very, very troublesome. I mean, I think you were just saying all the correct things, that they put guys on base, they take walks, they steal bases, they play small ball, and they play it at a high level. And now they're getting guys like Jackson Chourio that are hitting max, and they're hitting a lot of home runs right now. They're still a very potent offense, and they are a team they're hungry, right? But I still don't have I feel good about it because I think our starting pitching is so much better. Their bullpen, you would think, is a better bullpen overall, but with the way that the Dodgers have been utilizing guys like Sheehan and using different starting pitchers and also Roki Sasaki, who might be the best reliever in this place right now. So I think there's a lot of positives that are towards the Dodgers because their offense should be better overall. And they're starting should be able to get to their starting pitcher. Do we know who's starting game 1 for the Brewers yet? Because
they suggest it's an opener, but I haven't seen a name for who it could be.
Okay.
Can we mention, by the way, Greg, the Milwaukee? It's like I was joking with our guy Moreno, who I lump you two together. You probably hate that, but this is like your dream offense. Yeah,
honestly, why
this is your dream
that?
Offense? A 3rd in batting average, 4th in walks, 5th fewest strikeouts. Like, it's just small ball, old school baseball. None of this hit home runs and strike out. Like, this is what you love, Greg, about baseball right here.
This is they play the game the right way. They play the game how you're supposed to. Getting guys on base, moving runners over,
no nerd stats,
taking extra bases, stealing. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I still will take this team over
Pat Murphy, an old school manager.
Look, the guy got it done at Arizona State for years, kind of playing that level of ball. I mean, as opposed to the Dodgers, who are team 3 true outcomes, right? It's pretty much homer, walk, strike out. Like, that's it for the Dodgers. With the occasional like Freddie Freeman double mixed in there somewhere.
I will say, like you can't make mistakes. So the Dodgers have been doing a much better job defensively of not making those teeny little mistakes. If you make mistakes against this team, they're going to just keep putting up runs over and over and over again. They're going to start just taking little, like someone in the chat, they said Brewers are death by 1,000 cuts by Sherry. Yeah, it's pretty much true. Like if you make teeny mistakes, error here and there, throw to the wrong base, don't do the little things correctly, you're gonna lose because they will take advantage of those. It's not gonna be like the other teams that we've seen, like in Philadelphia. You make a mistake, you had guys that just didn't happen to capitalize on it. This team will capitalize on it. And this space in the NLCS, just don't make those little mistakes.
Although even for all of that, the small ball stuff, the walks, the stolen bases, they slugged against the Cubs. I mean, they hit 7 home runs in that 5-game series, right? I mean, they hit with power in that series. And, a lot of it was, I won't say it's all at home because they hit a few at Wrigley as well. So they maybe have found something, or I don't know, maybe that was just a function of Cubs pitching. I mean, they got to face Imanaga, who was sort of a home run ATM this year. So maybe that had something to do with it. But, they have found multiple ways to win baseball games this year. But
it was 22 runs against the Cubs in 5 games. That was like Boyd started game 1 on 3 days rest. Game 5 was a bullpen game. You mentioned Imanaga. So I think it's an interesting point, the 7 home runs. And I think that's honestly the key is if they can maintain that, because to everything Greg was just saying about stringing together hits, do any of us really believe they're going to string together hits against Snell, Ohtani, Yamamoto? Like, it's one thing when you're doing that against Boyd, and it's one thing when you're doing it against Imanaga. But the beauty of the Dodgers is, like, I would be way more terrified of a guy taking a fastball deep for a 2-run homer than worried about a team stringing together 4 base runners in 1 inning against one of our aces. And so that's one of the reasons that this matchup, I think, plays out well for the Dodgers. And as good as the Brewers offense has been of late, it's apples to oranges what they saw last series from a pitching perspective. And again, they only scored 22 runs in 5 games. Like that's less than 5 runs per game. And that's the number that I think the Dodgers offense is going to have to get to.
Do you think it's kind of like, sorry, Marcus, do you think it's kind of like when you go play in Colorado and you have this big, massive ballpark and you get a whole bunch of runs, and then you go to another ballpark that is not anywhere near that, and instead of getting 10 runs per game, it goes down to 2.
Yeah. I mean, even the Dodgers, like getting to face the Reds in the wild card, it felt like, oh, the offense is back. Then they had to go face the Phillies, and it was like, holy crap, where did our bats go? Like I think the Brewers are going to be in for something similar this round.
You talked about the Brewers, Greg, and maybe peaking a little bit early. I mean, they were fantastic June, July, and August. September, they were a 500 ball club. They were 12-12 in the month of September. So they definitely came back to earth. Now they've been great at home this year. No surprise for a team that won 97 games. On the road they were just over 500. So the splits are interesting for the Brewers for sure. So we'll see what that means for them. Obviously, when the series starts, they get the first 2 games at home, so that is to their benefit. Parker, talking about the Dodgers though, and obviously knowing Shohei has to come through, that they need him to step up a little bit. Looking at the bottom part of that lineup, looking specifically at Andy Pages, who was so bad offensively in the series that at one point Dave Roberts just sat him down in the middle of the game because his at-bats were bad. Hopes that having a couple of days off and maybe more importantly just seeing a different group of arms helps get Pages kind of going again.
Yeah, and of course he had the big moment to where, that moment where you accidentally become important at work.
I'm glad you didn't say the big hit. I'm glad you said the big moment, because that was well phrased there, Parker.
But occasionally that's all it takes, I guess. We at least have had solid performances out in the outfield, which is what the Dodgers are going to need this series. But to your credit, to your point, Marcus, yeah, Edman, we're going to need some performances from the bottom half of the lineup there. But what's bigger and what's more pressing is, we've talked about it earlier in this episode, and then in Ohtani, and then another name in Freddie, both really struggled versus those lefties. Of course, I think Freddie was 3 for 15 and Ohtani 1 for 18. Those are the names who I need to see turn things around. But if I trust anyone to do so, it is both of those. So they're putting more focus on those 2 guys because, you're not going to win a World Series if your 2 mega hitters aren't doing it, and Mookie has to carry the entire thing. And I mean, he has been, but yeah, it's time for Freddie and Ohtani to have the series that, at least Freddie had last playoffs. And Ohtani, let's see what he can do.
Well, and the other part, I think the good news about this, Greg, is the Brewers they're not loaded up with left-handed pitchers the way
Right.
the Phillies were. I mean, the Phillies threw or had the opportunity to throw three left-handed starters. And I guess essentially they did, right? They used Nola as the opener and then came back with Suarez for most of game 3. So essentially it was three left-handed starters going against the Dodgers. The Brewers with one lefty in the starting rotation, like one or two in the bullpen. So this, Greg, seems to bode well for, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, a lot of these guys who really just had a miserable time against the Phillies last series.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be nice for Shohei to see somebody that is not a left-hander that is also a ridiculously good left-hander. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from the Phillies starting pitching. Like, it's not just because they're lefties. They're lefties that are Cy Young caliber lefties. They're really, really, really good, and so it's a completely different situation. It will be nice for him to see other types, but he just has to figure out the strike zone again. Yeah. He like, you call him a Costco hitter. He's very much a guess hitter that guesses correctly way more often than not. Because we've talked about it 100 times. Shohei is a guy that he can look amazing for 3 months, and then there's this 2-week period where, like, when did you swing a bat? Was this the first time that you picked up a bat? What are you swinging at? Yeah. And like, you're swinging at balls and you're watching strikes go by. That's when you're not going well. And that's very much what he was doing in this last series. I really, like Parker said, Freddie, Shohei, those are guys that I trust are going to be just fine in this situation. They're going to figure themselves out.
I want to add quickly, Greg. It felt this series almost, he wasn't even being a guess hitter. He just was mentally, like, just not checked in, because you're right, some of those swings is like he's pushing his butt out and doing that whole little, like, pirouette swing he does sometimes.
He's moving away on a ball outside.
Exactly. So I trust him to self-reflect fully on this series. Ohtani is going to just be a different beast this series. And I saw BC or maybe Mr. Classic. Hey, welcome, Mr. Classic, to the chat. Saying you got to silence the crowd.
Oh, it's game day, so he can come back tomorrow. Got it.
But got to silence the crowd ASAP, because, Milwaukee's going to be jumping. Our sister station over there at ESPN Milwaukee, I know that they're going to be shooting some social stuff towards us. It's going to be rocking over there. And Ohtani, if he can be the first to just give a little, he's never going to shush the crowd, but get the home run started, get the offense started, that'll be massive for the Dodgers.
I mean, getting out to a lead would be phenomenal. After watching this team just have to scratch and claw to score runs against that Philly pitching staff, it'd be nice to see them just get out to a lead, give Snell a couple of runs to work with, and then sort of go from there at that point. Leaving out on the field stuff, but I feel like we got to acknowledge the fact that I'm sure you guys saw Miguel Rojas announced after the end of the Phillies series that this is kind of it for him, right? That, he's retiring at the end of the year. So we already know that Kershaw is retiring at the end of the year. Now Miguel Rojas says he's hanging him up whenever the season is done. And, I mean, Jeff, you want to talk about a guy who really kind of turned his, I won't say reputation around, but I mean, when he first got here, this was a guy that, you weren't really counting on for much. He was kind of, they had him playing a lot at first, but he wasn't really contributing. But then the last 2 seasons, Miguel Rojas, to me, has meant as much to this team as anybody. The numbers don't necessarily blow you away, but Jeff, what he gives this team in the field, at the plate, in the clubhouse, has just really been invaluable the last 2 seasons.
Totally. And I think you said this. It's after next season. So after the 2026 season. So he's got one more. So it's
okay.
He wants the Carmelo Anthony retirement tour, I think, next year in 2026. He just wants to make sure that he gets presents everywhere he goes. Look, I was down on Rojas, and he's been fantastic this season, especially. He's been absolutely much needed for this group. And so I think he's had some weird moments in his career. You hear about the Jazz Chisholm story in Miami and kind of whatever you make of that. But the 2 things you cannot deny are, 1, how important he is to this clubhouse now, and 2, how good he has been on the field as just a steady hitter, a guy who has produced seemingly well above his means, and a guy who's been versatile and offered them good defense everywhere he goes. And so he's one of these dudes that you just invaluable, indispensable. You couldn't do without. And so he's been absolutely massive for the Dodgers. And again, I'll say it one more time. I was dead wrong about Miguel Rojas and the impact that he was going to have on this team.
Yeah, I mean, again, I remember last year, right? He was playing well and he was playing every day, sort of out of necessity. And we kept saying, well, this is great, but can he keep this up? And he really kept it up for the majority of the year. And then this year, as you mentioned, Jeff, doing whatever this team needed, right? Playing second base, playing third base, filling in, pinch hitting. And always it felt like even when the offense as a whole just could not figure it out, you always seem to get good at bats out of Miguel Rojas. Maybe they didn't always end with a hit, but they'd always felt like he went to the plate with a plan, with some good swings, with a chance to at least do something. And just really was a guy that has meant a lot to this team. So, as it correct, it's after next year that he's hanging him up. But either way, I guess wishing him the best prematurely in retirement. I don't know. Anyway,
he goes immediately onto the staff somewhere, right? Like he's either
so. If that's what he wants to do, 100%.
Yeah,
he major league level, minor league level, something. He is going to be. I don't see why he would ever leave this organization unless he doesn't want to be in Los Angeles. But I think being in this organization as some sort of coach would be the right spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, what he's meant. I would think what he's meant to Mookie Betts and his development over at shortstop, and just a lot of things for the infield. Like I could see him as like a roving infield coach or something like that, where he gets to travel to all the different teams and work with guys.
You don't think Pujols is just going to stick him as bench coach immediately day one?
It's going to be Pujols, Miguel Rojas, Torrey Hunter. Just everybody's going to be
just bring them all back.
You should get Hamilton to come over too, and just have somebody in charge of the alcohol.
Chili Davis.
Sorry, that was me. That was me.
Oh, that part was me.
That was maybe a little over the line.
Bad down there. So, Grant, that's
sorry. That is not a funny joke. I'll take that back.
So, all right.
On that note,
last few minutes before we get out of here. Obviously, game 1 of the NLCS begins tonight at what is this? Miller Park. It's Miller Park. I'm not calling it whatever it is now. I don't even know what it is now. It's Miller Park.
Is Vassegh going down the slide this year?
I would advise for his own health and safety that he does not go down the slide, but David, you do you. If that's going to be
guys.
Blake
Face
Snell,
your demons, David. Face your demons. Go down the slide.
Says the person who didn't break his arm on the slide.
Exactly.
Blake Snell against TBD. The Brewers likely going with an opener in this one. 5:08 first pitch time for that ball game, and it is. Can we hear it on 710, Greg? Is that
yes? So it will be on 710, and you can hear it on the ESPN LA app as well if you need to do it that way. But yes, 710 and ESPN LA app, and I'm really looking forward to Snell's start tonight. He was so good. He has been so good in this playoffs and just in general. So I'm really excited to see what he does against a team that does like to cut you over and over again.
All right.
We have series predictions from you guys yet?
That's where I was going right now. Let's go around the horn, Greg. Your series prediction. Winner, and let's go MVP too.
So I'm gonna go with Dodgers in 5. And I think that the MVP is going to be Mookie Betts.
All right, Jeff, what do you got?
I'm on the record, Dodgers in 5, and Freddie Freeman, MVP.
All
Love that.
Parker?
Dodgers 6. And I can't stray away from my playoff MVP, who I said earlier, so I'm sticking with Mookie as well.
I'm going to go Dodgers in 5, and I'm going to say Shohei is your MVP, that he just...
Oh, please.
He breaks out of that funk and just, wrecks shop against the Brewers over the next few days. And pitches on top of that, too, which will only strengthen his case. Jeff, I assume you guys are you doing live shows after each game?
Tons of content coming today. We'll have a live show this morning breaking down the postseason roster once it gets it. Greg, I want to see your face when I say this. I predicted Conforto's back on the roster, just so you know. We're going to have a live show this morning. We've also got an interview with the Brewers beat reporter that'll post on the Dodger Blue 1958 YouTube page as well. So tons of content coming this morning, and then we'll be live after all of the games. It sounds like Greg might join us post-game for Game 2 tomorrow. So tons of content coming your way.
Fantastic. So be sure to check that out as well. And also be sure to check out this is an On Cap Morning Extravaganza coming your way right here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel as soon as we are done. But we appreciate all you getting up this early and hanging out with us. As always, just it's been great having everybody kind of follow us along to 6:30 since we made the switch over. So Get ready for Game 1 tonight. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel for another edition of the Blue Review. Thanks to the chat. Thanks to LAX. Thanks to Jeff and Parker and Greg. I am Marcus. We will see you mañana. Think Blue, everybody.
Go,
See ya.